In the world of database software, Oracle secures a solid top position. The company that was created in 1977 has witnessed the rising and falling of many other tech companies in the world, but it has continued to stay despite the many storms of competition it has had to weather. Guess who the proprietor of this incredible company is? It is no other person than Larry Ellison. Wait. Everyone knows and uses Google, one of the largest search engines the world has ever known. Guess what? The company has at one time used Oracle database technology. The epic of Google started in the early 2000s, but Oracle at the time had already become a force to be respected in the world of tech and database management. That is how long Larry Ellison has been reigning. The cake of it all is that Ellison is still very active after all these years. So who is this tech man called Larry Ellison? Let's find out. Larry Ellison was born to Florence Spellman on August 17, 1944. The story of how Ellison's mother met her partner is not clear, but it was clear that his mother struggled as a single mother until his mother had to give him up for adoption when he was 9 months. As an infant, Ellison fell terribly sick with pneumonia. The sickness was so much that it defied the treatment that his mother's meager resources could provide, decided to give him to her aunt and uncle, Lillian and Louise Ellison, for adoption. It seemed like a reasonable thing to do at the time. So from a very early age, Ellison was removed from the care of his biological parents. Ellison was raised in the South Side of Chicago. Fortunately for him, his adoptive father, Louise Ellison, was slightly well-to-do as he worked for the government and could provide for him and the rest of the family. His childhood and most of his youth were a normal one. Still, he had a strained relationship with his adoptive father. Like most teenagers, this affected his self-esteem. Sometimes, he doubted his abilities. His only solace came from his adoptive mother, who filled all gaps for him. Lillian Ellison was more than a mother to him. She was always a willing listener and ever-ready shoulder to cry on. This would explain why Ellison did not meet his real mother again until 1992 at the age of 48 years. Ellison, in 1962, attended the University of Illinois, where he was enrolled as a pre-med student. He did wonderful in his studies until 1964, when he received news of his adoptive mother's death. He was to become a college dropout, but that was not the last time. Shortly after that, he was enrolled at the University of Chicago in 1966. But that adventure was for a short time because he left the school without a degree. On the bright side, while he was in the university, he was exposed to computers, and it wasn't long before he developed an unshakable interest in computer affairs. One would have seen how many similarities he shared with other tech billionaires like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, etc. They also dropped out of school to pursue their dreams and greatly impact the world. But then, a time machine to sneak peek at the future has not yet been created except in sci-fi movies. Once out of school, Ellison took a trip to California where he started exploring his skills in computer programs. He worked for many companies for a long time, writing codes for each one until he got bored and moved on to something more interesting. This voyage started in 1973, and he worked for Ampex, an electronic company where he first met Ed Oates as a colleague and Bob Miner as a supervisor. These two people would later become his business partners and would all change the world together. In 1976, Ellison left Ampex and moved on to Precision Instrument, which later became Ampex. At the time, it appeared Ellison had grown uninterested, or maybe he wanted more and didn't just want to be rooted in a place. Ellison, in 1977, partnered with Miner and Oates to create a company known as Software Development Laboratories, SDL. It was formed to do contract programming for other companies that might need them. It was such a huge step in the right direction because only a few people or companies provided such products and services at the time. The invention was inspired by a research paper written by a British-originated computer scientist called Edgar F. Code. He summarized a relational database model. In 1979, the three friends, led by Ellison, launched Oracle. The intention came out of their company, which is now called Relational Software Inc. It was at that time the first commercial relational database program to use structured query language, SQL, and the adaptable database program, which all quickly became prominent. In 1982, the company was renamed Oracle Systems Corporation. The move was tailored towards marketing and aggressive competition. Of course, he made sure the move won't turn around to take a huge chunk from his behind, so he didn't take any step until the company's flagship product prospered rapidly all through the 1980s and then went public in 1986. As of 1987, Oracle became the largest database management company in the world, which, as expected, was the admiration of their enthusiasts and, of course, a major source of envy to their critics and competitors. Nonetheless, just like it is for most good adventures in life, once there is a win, an adversary lurks in the dark just waiting to reveal itself at any moment. In 1987, during an internal audit conducted after a bunch of shareholders had filed a lawsuit, it came to light that Oracle had exaggerated its earnings. According to Bloomberg, Ellison, as of May 4, 2022, ranked 11th on the list of the richest people in the world with a net worth of $95.6 billion. Apart from owning more than 40% of Oracle, he owns a share in Tesla Inc., whose current CEO is Elon Musk. Around the mid-1990s, Ellison saw an opportunity to contend with Microsoft Corporation by creating a less expensive option to the growing need for a desktop personal computer, which was also called the network computer. Ellison realized that the network computer was not as fully functional and equipped as a standard personal computer. Also, its functionality relied on computer servers for its data and software in an initial edition of what eventually became known as cloud computing. Nonetheless, the continual fall in the price of personal computers suggested that computers running the Microsoft Windows operating system continued subjugating business users' desktops. At a later date, Ellison would confess that the network computer was way ahead of its time. Ellison was a renowned yachtsman who established a team that won prestigious America's Cup in 2010. He didn't stop there. In 2012, Ellison bought an eye-popping 98% of the Hawaiian island of Lanai. That year alone, his wealth was estimated to be at $40 billion, which made him sit confidently at the 6th position in the rankings of the world's richest people and America's third richest person, just after Microsoft founder Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. 9 years ago in 2014, to be more accurate, Ellison resigned as the CEO of Oracle. This development, however, did not mean he retired and stayed home while enjoying his money. Far from it. Although he stepped down from active duty, he stayed involved in running the company and kept performing his roles of executive chairman and chief technology officer, being one of the few people who saw the future of the internet and embraced it. Ellison recorded more success than many of his peers. One of his feats was Oracle developing products that were agreeable with World Wide Web technologies, which were responsible for the company's significant growth. Also, in the early 2000s, Ellison started Oracle with a fierce method of buying rival software companies. This he did to widen his tentacles and lessen competition. While the strategy worked, it didn't pass without amassing a handful of enemies. During the raid, Ellison made scores of multi-billion-dollar purchases. They included PeopleSoft in 2005, Siebel in 2006, B in 2008, and Sun Microsystems in 2010. You may wonder what lessons one could possibly learn from the life of a college dropout. As we know it, the tech world today has been influenced by several people, with Larry Ellison being on the front line. On 2 solid occasions, Larry Ellison had to leave school before securing a degree. Now look at him today. How has his lack of degree affected him? If anything, he has recovered from many major business setbacks. And since he went public in the early 1990s, he's been raking in $1 billion yearly. Listen closely. No one tells you to abandon your education, withdraw from school, or even follow Larry's path. All you have to know is that with or without a university degree, you can succeed if you know your dreams and follow your passion. Before Ellison retired as the CEO in 2014, he was asked why he still went to work after all the wealth he had. He responded that he loved to compete. In his own words, he said he loved winning, and that the more he won, the more he wanted to compete. You too can take a cue from Ellison. Nothing worthwhile comes easy, and if you desire anything in life, you must be willing to fight for it. No doubt, Larry Ellison is a resourceful business leader who put in the needed effort to build Oracle from ground zero into arguably one of the most profitable companies. In 2021 alone, they made a sale of more than $40 billion. On May 5, 2022, they made a market capitalization greater than $196 billion. Ellison should never be denied his accolades. He positioned Oracle for prominence by formulating a wide spectrum of integrated software packages from databases, application servers, and storage to the cloud. Should you want to learn about the inspiring stories of other business magnates who have affected the world in many positive ways, make sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't.